So, how important is the internet with respect to how you're going to be marketing and advertising your businesses in order to move them forward? Most advertisers agree that internet is in increasing importance, but businesses are still using traditional media. And all I would say is don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. So let's look at how businesses globally are actually using advertising media. This is again from Zenith Optimedia Group's statistics that they put together earlier on this year. And this is what they were actually, on the figures that they calculated for budgets for 2009 over 2008. Newspapers are down, magazines were down a bit, TV and radio together a little bit down, internet is up and other is more or less the same, slightly down, which during a recession isn't, I don't think that's too bad. Yes, internet is up, but as you can see there, people are still using all forms of media for advertising purposes. And again, this goes to sort of reinforce what I would like to emphasise really, coming from somebody who loves digital and works in the internet world, is don't just suddenly switch all your budgets to putting it into websites and digital. Maintain that balance and get it right. How do you get it right? Well, you should obviously consider what you're doing at the moment, how you're advertising, how you're marketing. The most important thing about advertising and marketing is actually measuring it. Measuring every single sale, every single inquiry. Where did they come from? Did they come from multiple sources? Was a sale influenced by multiple sources? Or did it primarily just come from one source? Was it one particular advert? Was it your radio advert that triggered the sale? Or was it a mixture or a blend? If you're not measuring what you're doing today, and if you didn't measure what you were doing last year, you should certainly start measuring what you're doing today, so that the decisions that you're going to be making in the months and years to come can then be measured against a benchmark of now. And if you're not considering and if you're not measuring what you're doing, then literally it really is like just going to the bookies and throwing some money behind the counter. So you should continue into the future to evaluate advertising and marketing and that balance. So again, working out how you're going to get that balance between all the different types of media channel. And then obviously looking for the new media, as I think Malcolm referred to it earlier. There are continually new ways coming out all the time, particularly in the world of social media, but also with Google and websites. They are changing on a continual basis, and it's really important to monitor all of those different media and actually work out how to get your balance and your mix correct. So if we're just moving on to the sort of website, a little bit about websites and how you should be using them more effectively. What I have seen over the years is that websites have changed in a number of different ways over the past 15 years really that websites have actually been used. And people's behaviour is actually changing. And this is the crucial part. The visitors to your website 5 years ago are behaving in a slightly different way now. The people that visited your website 3 years ago were doing certain things and were used to certain types of content. They were interested in certain areas of your website. Today in 2009 and next year in 2010, people will be used to using different aspects of the web. And if you're still showing them the same type of content on your website that you were showing them in 2006, then you're not necessarily actually going to engage with them as much as if you're showing them the sort of content that they're used to on your competitors' websites. Ideally, you actually want to be market leaders and you want to be innovating and you want to be looking around for what are those crucial elements of a website that engage with people, that makes the website sticky, as they used to call it. I haven't heard that phrase for a while, but essentially the principle there is to put content on your website that people are going to want to look at. People are not just going to want to look at a little photograph, click on it to see the enlarged thumbnail. Click on the thumbnail to see the enlarged photograph. That's kind of a little bit, you know, you need to have a bit of that, but really and truly there's other features of websites which will actually engage with people far more effectively and mean that people spend far more time looking at your website, your brand, your message, and thus you're communicating more effectively with them. There's always been new features on websites. They come out all the time. And hardly a week goes past without somebody sort of trying to either reinvent the wheel or putting a new spin on a feature. And you will see emerging features on websites. And this is all based around people's behaviours. You'll see 360 and 3D rotating imagery a lot more. It's been around for quite a while, but obviously with such a high percentage of people using broadband now, it's far more important to actually go that extra mile. If you can display your products or the imagery around what you're trying to sell in a far more interesting way, then you will hold people's attention for longer. And this has been demonstrated with a report which is kind of slightly, I'm not entirely sure about it, but to do with video content. I'll come to that in a minute. But the next section.